The Buffalo Bills suffered a significant blow before the season even began. Defensive tackle Dwayne Carter, a third-round pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, is officially out for the entire 2025 season after tearing his Achilles during practice. The injury happened on a Wednesday, but the news didn't break until Sunday night, when Carter confirmed the setback himself on social media. The surgery's already been completed, but the reality remains. Carter's second NFL season is over before it even started. For a young player trying to prove himself and find a role in one of the most competitive defensive lines in the league, this is a brutal development. Carter's NFL journey started with promise. Drafted out of Duke, he became part of a smart maneuver by the Bills front office. Remember that trade back with Kansas City? The one that eventually led to the Bills landing Keon Coleman? Well, Carter was the result of the additional third-round pick that came with that deal. There was excitement about his upside. A productive college player with intelligence, toughness, and leadership qualities, Carter brought a strong resume with him. But year one in the league didn't go as planned. A wrist injury sidelined him for 5 games in the middle of the season, and when he came back, he simply couldn't crack the rotation. The Bills were forced to bring in veterans like Jordan Phillips and Quentin Jefferson, and Carter ended up a healthy scratch in 4 of the team's final 6 games, including the entire playoff run. That quiet rookie season already put some pressure on his second year. And just when there might have been a sliver of opportunity, with Larry Ogunjobi suspended for the first 6 games, this Achilles tear erased whatever shot Carter had at redeeming himself. By all accounts, he had a quiet training camp and a quiet preseason. Despite all the optimism heading into his first real offseason, he was buried on the depth chart, trailing Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, Ogunjobi, TJ Sanders, and Deone Walker. The Bills traded up for Sanders in the second round, and then again for Walker in the fourth. Those investments spoke volumes. The writing was on the wall, and the injury only sealed it. Let's be real. Carter was on the bubble anyway. Had he stayed healthy, he may have barely made the final roster, riding the bench until Ogunjobi returned. He wasn't going to be a primary rotational guy. And now, with the injury, he enters 2026 with 2 seasons in the NFL and nothing on tape to inspire confidence. That's not the trajectory you want from a top 100 pick. The upside now is that the injury happened early in the year, so he should be ready for 2026. But it's fair to question whether he'll even have a spot waiting for him. Walker and Sanders are young, talented, and now firmly ahead of him. Oliver remains the anchor. Jones and Ogunjobi may walk after their contracts expire, but it's not like Carter's role is guaranteed. He's going to have to fight for a job. Now, from the team's perspective, this isn't a crushing loss. Carter was a depth piece, and frankly, Zion Logue or Jordan Phillips might offer more right now in that backup nose tackle role. When you look at what Carter was expected to contribute this season, it wasn't much. He was likely going to be inactive most weeks or play sparingly in low-leverage situations. In fact, predictions already had him listed among potential Week 1 inactives. It's a tough break for the player, no doubt, but it doesn't move the needle for the Bills' defensive plans in any significant way. While the injury stole the headlines, the Bills also announced their team captains for the 2025 season. And once again, they've chosen to roll with just 2, quarterback Josh Allen and linebacker Terrell Bernard. That's the exact same duo from last season. It's an interesting choice, especially considering the team's history of naming a larger leadership group. In past years, they've had as many as 6 or more captains. So why only 2 again? It seems the Bills are leaning into a more focused leadership model. There will still be a broader leadership council behind the scenes. Plenty of voices in the locker room without the C on the jersey. But when it comes to official captains, Allen and Bernard are the chosen ones. There was plenty of speculation before the announcement. Some fans were convinced the Bills would expand the list this year. Names like Dion Dawkins, Christian Benford, Reed Ferguson, and even Khalil Shakir were tossed around. Benford especially seemed like a candidate. He's been featured prominently on team media and made a strong impression on Hard Knocks. But in the end, the coaching staff stuck to what worked last season. Allen is the unquestioned leader of the offense. Bernard has become the vocal and emotional centerpiece of the defense. They lead by example. They command respect, and they have the trust of the locker room. This approach tells us something about how Sean McDermott and the front office view leadership. It's not about titles or recognition. It's about trust, consistency, and accountability. And if the locker room responds to these two as captains, there's no need to shake things up. Allen is entering a pivotal year, both for his own legacy and for the team's championship window. Bernard, meanwhile, is evolving into a defensive cornerstone. The Bills are betting on stability, not ceremony. Now, speaking of former Bills and shifting dynamics, a few ex-Buffalo players have landed on new teams, and it's worth taking a minute to evaluate their situations. Von Miller to the Commanders. Rasul Douglas to the Dolphins. Amari Cooper to the Raiders. Each of these moves raises an eyebrow, especially considering where these players are in their careers. But honestly, all three landed in situations that make a lot of sense. Let's start with Douglas. The Dolphins needed cornerback help, desperately. They're likely going to run a lot more zone this year, leaning into classic cover 2 looks. That's a great fit for a player like Douglas. He's physical, a solid tackler, and doesn't need to play on island. With that Miami pass rush looking pretty stout up front, the scheme should give him the help he needs over the top. His job will be to drive on short throws, tackle in the flats, and be an enforcer underneath. It's a perfect late-career role for him. Cooper returns to the Raiders, where it all started. And let's be honest, that wide receiver room is thin. Jacoby Myers has requested a trade, and outside of tight end Brock Bowers, there's not much there in terms of reliable targets. Geno Smith, the presumed starter, is a veteran who can distribute the ball if protected, and Cooper should see a healthy target share. It might not be a playoff team, but Cooper will have every opportunity to put up solid numbers and perhaps even revitalize his brand in a familiar setting. And then there's Von Miller. Let's be clear, Miller was never the same after that injury in Buffalo. But in Washington, he gets a fresh start with a team that has young talent and a serious need at edge rusher. They made a surprise run to the NFC Championship last year, and now add Jaden Daniels at quarterback. The Commanders are banking on Miller's leadership, even if he's not the dominant force he once was. It's not a long-term solution, but it's a logical one for both sides. Miller can mentor, fill a situational role, and maybe flash his old self in spots. But circling back to the Bills, the real test is coming in Week 1 against Baltimore. This matchup is about as physical as it gets. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, a revamped offensive line. The Ravens averaged nearly 200 rushing yards per game last season. The Bills' new-look defense, now built for more pressure and aggression, will be tested early. The question is simple. What do you try to take away? You can't stop everything. That's the nature of facing a team like Baltimore. So the defensive strategy has to be about sacrifice. Do you load up to stop the run and risk Lamar picking you apart through the air? Or do you sit back in coverage and get run over? The safe bet is to challenge Lamar to win as a passer. Not because he can't. He absolutely can. But because letting Henry and Jackson combine for 250 yards on the ground is a guaranteed loss. If you're going to lose to Lamar making special throws, not by being out physical at the line of scrimmage. This is where someone like Matt Milano becomes critical. He's the Bills' most versatile linebacker and arguably their best weapon in terms of neutralizing athletic quarterbacks. But even with Milano, the concern is real, especially at cornerback. The CB2 spot remains a question mark, even if Tre'Davious White returns to form. Baltimore will find mismatches. That's the reality. You just have to decide what you're willing to live with, and the answer has to be the pass. Sell out to contain the run. Force Baltimore to play on your terms. While the Bills are gearing up to face one of the most physical offenses in the league, there's another dimension to this week, one showdown that demands attention. The reimagined Buffalo defense. It's no secret that the team has shifted its philosophy this offseason. Gone are the days of passive zone schemes and bend-but-don't-break tendencies. This version of the Bills is built to attack, to create chaos, to force offenses into mistakes. And it all starts up front, with additions like TJ. But defense isn't just about the front four. The safety situation also looms large heading into the season. Jordan Poyer's return caught some by surprise, and it's led to plenty of speculation about what it means for the younger guys like Cole Bishop and Taylor Rapp. The immediate reaction from many was that Poyer's presence reflected disappointment in the younger players. But a more reasonable explanation is actually simpler: availability. Bishop, for all his potential, has struggled to stay on the field during the preseason. Rapp, too, has battled injuries both last year and this offseason. It's not a matter of talent. It's about who you can count on when the games start to count. Bringing back Poyer doesn't signal failure. It's a smart insurance policy. This is a team that knows what it's like to be thin at safety in big moments. The hope is that Bishop takes over sooner rather than later, but the Bills aren't going to force that transition if he's not ready. Having a proven vet like Poyer in the room gives the staff peace of mind. He knows the system, he knows the expectations, and he can still play at a high level when healthy. It's a luxury move, not a panic one. One thing fans should keep an eye on is just how often the Bills deploy 3 safety looks this season. With the versatility of Bishop and Rapp, there's real potential for creative packages, especially against run-heavy teams or those with athletic quarterbacks. Don't be surprised if we see Buffalo use more dime personnel in key spots, using speed and versatility to compensate for any deficiencies at corner. Speaking of corners, that remains the most volatile spot on the defense. Christian Benford is emerging as a real presence, both on and off the field. His leadership is beginning to shine, and he's made a strong impression this offseason. There were even whispers that he might be named a team captain. It didn't happen, but the buzz says a lot. The coaching staff clearly sees him as part of the long-term foundation. But the other corner spot remains in flux. Tre'Davious White is battling back, and the team is cautious about his timeline. The hope is that he can return to form, but if he can't, the Bills will have to lean heavily on matchups and zone coverage to survive against elite passing attacks. And the Week 1 opponent is certainly no slouch in that department. Lamar Jackson may be known for his legs, but he's developed into a more complete quarterback than most give him credit for. With weapons like Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, and Rashad Bateman, the Ravens can push the ball downfield. That's why the idea of selling out to stop the run, while tempting, is risky. If the Bills blitz too much, Lamar will burn them with quick throws and design screens. If they sit back, they risk being pushed around by Henry and that offensive line. It's a chess match, and the key might be disguising intentions pre-snap. Rotate safeties late. Show pressure, then drop. Force Lamar to hesitate. That might be your only shot at disrupting his rhythm. But it's not all on the defense. The offense is entering this season with some quiet pressure of its own. Josh Allen, now entering his 8th season, is still chasing that elusive Super Bowl breakthrough. The offense has undergone plenty of change this offseason. New weapons, a retooled line, and fresh concepts designed to make things simpler and more explosive. Keon Coleman is expected to be a major contributor right away, bringing size, hands, and physicality to a receiver room that has often leaned on finesse. James Cook looks poised for a bigger role, and the staff seems committed to using him more creatively this year. That's why scouting is evolving. Teams aren't just looking at physical traits anymore. They're looking at football IQ, adaptability, and mental toughness. You can run a 4.3, but if you can't pick up a blitz or adjust your route based on a post-snap rotation, you're not going to play. And that's why certain players fall in the draft, even when their college tape is explosive. It's not that they're bad players. It's that their learning curve is steeper, and not every team has the patience to wait. As for the Bills, the good news is they've largely avoided those pitfalls. They've targeted players from systems that translate. That's part of why their hit rate in the middle rounds has been so strong. They look for scheme fits, high-character guys, and coachability. It's not always sexy, but it works. That's how you build a roster that can withstand injuries, contract disputes, and changing circumstances. And that's what the Bills will need as they head into another challenging season in the AFC. Because make no mistake, the AFC is loaded again. Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, Herbert, Stroud, Rodgers. The path to a Super Bowl is no easier this year. If anything, it's more crowded. But Buffalo is right there. The window is still open. They have the quarterback. They have the leadership. And now, they have a defense with something to prove. The narrative is shifting. This isn't about unfinished business anymore. It's about evolution, growth, adaptation. The Bills aren't chasing ghosts of seasons past. They're building something new, and the journey starts week 1. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Whispers have been circulating through the corridors of the NFL world, igniting speculation and stirring intense excitement among Buffalo Bills fans, as the latest rumors suggest that Tyreek Hill, the electrifying wide receiver known for his blazing speed and game-changing plays, might have committed to the Bills in what insiders are calling the most monumental acquisition in franchise history. Sources close to the team hint that negotiations, which have been quietly ongoing behind closed doors, finally reached a breakthrough, leaving league analysts stunned and social media abuzz with conjecture about what this could mean for Buffalo's offensive strategies. The potential arrival of Hill, a player whose reputation for explosive acceleration and uncanny route running has consistently reshaped opposing defenses, would not only elevate the Bills' passing game, but might also redefine their standing in the AFC, turning them from perennial contenders into an almost unstoppable force. Rumors suggest that the signing could involve intricate contractual details tailored to maximize both Hill's performance and the team's salary cap management, sparking debates among fans about the long-term implications of such a bold move. Enthusiasts have started imagining what it would look like when Hill lines up alongside Josh Allen, with speculations ranging from record-breaking touchdown connections to unprecedented highlight reels that could dominate sports media for years. The atmosphere around the team seems charged with anticipation, as everyone waits to see if these whispers will solidify into the most talked-about headline of the offseason. The buzz surrounding Tyreek Hill's possible integration into the Buffalo Bills roster has created a frenzy that extends far beyond the immediate fan base, captivating sports journalists and analysts who are dissecting every possible angle of what could be a transformative season. Speculation about the impact on team chemistry is rife, with insiders debating how Hill's presence might alter offensive schemes and create new opportunities for both emerging talents and established players alike. The potential synergy between Hill's unmatched agility and Josh Allen's arm strength has led to endless conjecture, with pundits drawing parallels to some of the most dominant duos in NFL history, suggesting that if this rumored acquisition comes to fruition, the Bills could enter a new era of aerial supremacy. Beyond just the on-field excitement, there is intense speculation about the marketing and media implications, with rumors indicating that Hill's signing could spark a surge in ticket sales, merchandise, and national attention, catapulting Buffalo into a spotlight often reserved for the league's most glamorous franchises. Conversations on sports talk shows, podcasts, and social media platforms have turned into fever debates about whether this could finally be the breakthrough moment that sees the Bills secure the elusive Super Bowl victory. In stadium bars and living rooms alike, fans are imagining what it would mean to witness Hill's speed and finesse running precise routes, leaving defenders in his wake while redefining what the Bills' offensive identity could become in the modern NFL landscape. Rumors continue to swirl, each new tidbit igniting further speculation as everyone waits for confirmation of what could be the most groundbreaking signing in team history. The chatter about Tyreek Hill's rumored signing with the Buffalo Bills has intensified to a level that suggests this could redefine the very identity of the franchise, with sources claiming that if the deal is finalized, it will be regarded as a historic pivot point in the team's trajectory. Fans and analysts alike have speculated about the potential statistical explosion that could accompany such a union, with Hill's ability to turn seemingly impossible situations into spectacular gains, creating dreams of record-breaking seasons. Rumors hint at the strategic brilliance behind the move, suggesting that the Bills' management meticulously plotted this acquisition to address not just immediate needs, but to build a long-term offensive powerhouse, capable of challenging the elite of the NFL consistently. Conversations have been dominated by hypotheticals about the kinds of highlight reel plays Hill could generate, the pressure it might put on opposing defenses, and the ripple effect it could have across the league, forcing rival teams to reconsider their defensive strategies in anticipation of facing a Bills offense that might now be faster, more unpredictable, and more lethal than ever before. From casual observers to die-hard fans, everyone seems caught in the magnetic pull of what could be the most iconic signing in franchise history. The ongoing buzz around Tyreek Hill joining the Buffalo Bills has reached a crescendo, with every rumor detail feeding into a narrative that portrays this as the most audacious, potentially transformative acquisition in the team's history, capable of altering perceptions both within the league and among fans worldwide. Conversations continue to speculate on how Hill's unparalleled explosiveness might integrate into Buffalo's offensive schemes, with rumors suggesting that coaching staff are already envisioning innovative plays designed to maximize his game-breaking speed, creating new avenues for Josh Allen and redefining defensive planning across the AFC. Insider murmurs imply that negotiations were far more complex than previously imagined, hinting at sophisticated structuring to satisfy salary cap constraints while also ensuring Hill is positioned for peak performance, fueling the perception that this signing could be a masterstroke of strategy and vision. Fans have been visualizing high-stakes moments where Hill's acceleration could tip critical playoff games, imagining him leaving defenders trailing in a blur, making clutch catches in the red zone, and becoming the centerpiece of highlight reels that dominate national media coverage. The speculation has become so pervasive that even casual NFL observers are joining in, contributing to an atmosphere where anticipation and excitement are practically tangible, as if the city of Buffalo itself is holding its collective breath for the official confirmation. If the rumors hold true, this acquisition could forever redefine the Bills' offensive identity, elevate their national profile, and cement Tyreek Hill as the linchpin of a franchise that has long sought a signature moment capable of transforming potential into historic achievement. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.